Seabrook has been designed around the same urban planning principles that have been used in the best cities, towns, and villages around the world. Everything here is designed at a pedestrian scale, and one of the urban planning principles that you see most in Seabrook are terminated vistas. These terminated vistas can be found all throughout town, from the most urban parts of town to the most rural parts of town. Each view or vista is different than the next, and that's what makes Seabrook feel so unique when you walk our streets and pathways. One of the most important principles in old towns and new towns like Seabrook is actually building all the basic needs of a resident within a 5-minute walk. From restaurants, a market, art galleries, everything here is designed within a 5-minute walk. So what a transect really is the transitions from the most urban part of town to the most rural part of town. So in town, you'll see more formal details, more formal trim work, more intense infrastructure like concrete sidewalks, concrete curb and gutter. But as you walk further and further out of town, the most urban places turn into a more casual and relaxed architecture and more casual infrastructure. So concrete sidewalks turn to oyster shell pathways, to chip pathways out on the natural edge of town, from Main Street to our farm district. The transect also allows us to build the most intense development in the least sensitive part of the environment, and where the environment gets more sensitive near wetlands, creeks, bluffs, we're actually able to develop more sensitively in a more naturalistic way. One thing you'll find in great old towns and villages, and also find in Seabrook, are houses sit closer to the street and closer to the pedestrian ways, like sidewalks and pathways. This proximity to the street and sidewalk actually creates a sense of community that you don't get when you push houses away from the street or away from the sidewalk. Most of our houses in Seabrook also include alleyways where the car, trash, recycling can all reside without cluttering up the front street. This is why this traditional neighborhood technique is starting to become more and more common again in our neighborhoods throughout the country. In addition to everything being built at a pedestrian scale, you'll find that most of the streets in Seabrook are very narrow, which actually calms traffic. These narrow streets make pedestrians feel comfortable and make drivers drive very slowly. Another town building principle is called bookending. What we mean by bookending is by making strong corners, whether it's a retail street or whether it's a neighborhood street. We put slightly taller, more vertical houses on corners to hold up the mid-block houses. This gives each street a feeling of scale and proportion that you wouldn't otherwise get. Part of designing great communities is actually designing great outdoor spaces. Our landscape architect, Stephen Polakos, has actually gone to great lengths to make sure that each outdoor courtyard, each park space, each open space feels a little different than the next, so that our outdoor spaces feel like outdoor living rooms. When you walk through Seabrook, you're actually walking through a series of outdoor rooms all the way to the beach or even back from the beach.